Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're unpacking a truly critical framework for understanding the systemic and the internal challenges that women face in the workplace. We're doing a comprehensive book summary review of Sheryl Sandberg's highly influential book, Lean In. Now, it might seem like the battle for gender equality is already won, right? Well, the reality is we still have a really long way to go. This explainer is going to visually break down Sandberg's core arguments into clear, completely actionable takeaways that you can apply directly to your career and your life.
Okay, let's dive into this. Our agenda today serves as a problem-solution roadmap. We're going to be covering 5 key areas. First, the leadership ambition gap. Second, overcoming internal self-doubt. Third, navigating the modern workplace. Fourth, how equality starts at home. And finally, we'll deconstruct the myth of having it all.
So let's start with Section 1, the leadership ambition gap, and this incredibly persistent wage and ambition divide.
To really grasp the macro-level problem here, we have to look at the numbers. Now, we absolutely must acknowledge the immense progress brought about by the women's movement, but true gender equality remains an ongoing battle. Get this. In the United States in 1970, women made just 59 cents for every dollar men made in similar jobs. You'd expect that to have equalized completely by now, wouldn't you? But fast forward to 2010, and that figure only crawled up to 77 cents. The wage gap has just stubbornly persisted. And on top of this, studies actually show that women's performance is often unfairly denigrated compared to men's, even by evaluators who claim they're being completely impartial.
And this brilliantly illustrates the real-world impact of the leadership ambition gap. We're looking at the full-time employment rates of Yale and Harvard Business School alumni 20 years after graduation. The result? Only 50% of the women were employed full-time compared to a staggering 90% of the men. Why does this happen? Well, it's often because women are implicitly discouraged from being highly ambitious. Plus, the intense societal expectations of balancing a career and family life lead a lot of women to temper their career goals. This literally results in a mass exodus of highly educated women from the workforce.
To fix this, we need to have open discussions about gender inequality without women automatically being labeled as complainers. But there's another crucial dynamic we have to address here. Women need to support each other. Unfortunately, this hasn't always been the case due to what's known as the queen bee phenomenon. This is a situation very prevalent in male-dominated corporate environments where women actually hinder the advancement of other women. Breaking the glass ceiling means breaking these barriers and consciously choosing to support one another instead.
Moving on to Section 2, overcoming internal self-doubt. This is all about recognizing and conquering those internal barriers.
We've talked about the external societal pressures, but now we need to look inward. For a lot of you watching, these internal hurdles probably validate a very real lived experience, because self-doubt can be a massive obstacle. A huge culprit here is imposter syndrome. It's defined as a persistent feeling of being a fraud, despite having significant accomplishments. It causes people to judge their own performance incredibly harshly. This is such a prevailing issue that causes so many women to completely underestimate their own abilities, and that stands in stark contrast to men, who studies show actually tend to be overly confident.
So, the crucial question is, how do we overcome this? Sandberg offers a very punchy, practical strategy. Fake it till you make it. By literally acting as if you are confident, you can actually start to feel more genuinely self-assured over time. It's all about being proactive. Don't wait around for the perfect moment. Lean in, take risks, seize those opportunities the second they arise, and surround yourself with a supportive network that provides real encouragement. All right, Section 3, navigating the modern workplace. Let's look at some modern strategies for career advancement.
Now that we've tackled the internal barriers, let's transition into some actionable solutions for the realities of modern office dynamics. Gone are the days when people just climbed a single corporate ladder, from entry-level to executive. I absolutely love this vivid visual metaphor. Instead of a ladder, view your career as a jungle gym. It's got multiple routes and totally unexpected paths to the top. To navigate this, Sandberg advises having a long-term dream to guide what kind of work you truly care about, paired with actionable short-term goals for the next 18 months to improve both professionally and personally. Embrace that jungle gym mindset to learn new skills and find success in unexpected ways.
Now, what's really interesting to consider here is the harsh reality of the ambition-likability paradox. Despite all our progress, successful women are often perceived as far less likable compared to their male counterparts. But here's the catch. If women conform to traditional gender rules and are less ambitious, it holds them back professionally. Successful women are basically forced to walk this incredibly delicate tightrope between being appropriately feminine while still firmly advocating for themselves.
And let's see how this builds into everyday workplace scenarios, particularly negotiations. The differences here are just stark. When men negotiate directly, they're perceived as confident and they are rewarded. When women do it, they are often penalized for their ambition. To navigate this minefield, women currently have to legitimize negotiations by softening their message, often speaking for the benefit of the group rather than just themselves. The ultimate hope is that as more powerful women break the glass ceiling, these ridiculous negotiation acrobatics will become entirely obsolete.
Mentorship is another massive advantage in the workplace. But bluntly walking up to a senior executive and asking them to be your mentor? Yeah, that rarely works. Here is a much better roadmap. Step 1, excel in your role first. Step 2, build a natural, reciprocal relationship. Approach them with specific, well-prepared inquiries. Remember, mentors gain pride and extremely useful information from mentees too. And step 3, do not overlook your peers. Your peers understand your immediate situation way better than executives do, and they can be incredibly valuable mentors.
Next up is communication. We absolutely need cultures that reward authenticity, but we must practice what Sandberg calls delicate honesty. Basically, don't beat around the bush, but also avoid being overly blunt or critical. Try using humor to break the ice during those difficult conversations. And importantly, reflect on the other person's perspective by framing your feedback with I statements rather than claiming absolute truths. Creating an authentically appropriate communication culture really does benefit the entire team.
Moving to Section 4, Equality starts at home. Balancing domestic responsibilities for career success.
We have to pull back to the holistic view here. A supportive, equal partnership at home is fundamentally crucial for a woman's ability to succeed in her career. The data on this is incredibly stark. Even in households where both parents work full-time, mothers still carry a significantly heavier domestic burden. They spend much more time on childcare and housework than fathers do. We simply cannot achieve workplace equality if we do not actively challenge this unequal status quo at home.
But to create that equal partnership, we also have to be very aware of maternal gatekeeping. This happens when mothers inadvertently push fathers away from childcare duties by criticizing them for not doing things the right way. Mothers absolutely must treat fathers as equally capable partners. We also have to recognize that institutional policies heavily reinforce this unequal status quo. For example, maternity leave is almost universally longer than paternity leave, and men who prioritize their family often face severe career penalties.
Finally, Section 5, the myth of having it all. Setting boundaries and managing guilt.
Look, there is an overwhelming, frankly impossible pressure out there to be both the perfect employee and the perfect mother. Trying to do everything perfectly ultimately just leads to total burnout. Which brings us to a major driver of this guilt: intensive mothering. This is a cultural phenomenon that makes working mothers feel terribly guilty for being away from their kids. But here is what you really need to take away from this. Research clearly shows that having others care for your children while you work has absolutely no negative effect on their development. Understanding that fact is key to effective guilt management. For their part, companies and leaders must shift their culture. The focus should be on actual results, not simply tracking face time sitting in an office chair. Allowing for flexible work environments is absolutely essential for helping employees find a sustainable balance between work and home.
Ultimately, there is no perfect way to balance work and home. Done is better than perfect. You need to draw boundaries and find a sustainable solution that prioritizes what truly matters to you. Make time for the important events, like your kid's recital, and simply let go of worrying about having perfectly folded laundry. Just focus on what is genuinely important to you.
And that brings us to the end of our explainer. I want to leave you with a provocative question taken straight from the source material to reflect on your own journey. Which topic resonates with you the most? Is it the systemic leadership ambition gap, or is it the critical need to empower women to overcome internal self-doubt? Really think about how these concepts apply to your own life. Thank you so much for joining me to unpack these powerful ideas.